One other thing I want to say to our mod and admin team on Twitch. I think we've only like handed out one VIP. You're going to know who those VIPs are better than me or Jennifer. That's for sure. We got 60 of them. Start handing them out. Start making some peeps, some VIPs out there. And if I just misspoke and I need to turn something on so that you can do that, I'm really sorry. I'm still learning Twitch. I mean, the temples are gray. Give me some credit that that I'm trying here. So, Jennifer, I've pulled you up on the screen here. First thing I'm going to do is just let's talk about the local weather forecast. If you're part of our national audience, and I know we have people from our international audience that watch us, you get amused that we freak out about 2 or 3 inches of snow in the Seattle area. And the main reason that we freak out about that here is a piece of worthless trivia. The city of Houston, Texas has more snow removal equipment than the city of Seattle. Now, I realize that might hurt some people's brains, but there is one key difference. You could literally drive at 60 miles an hour starting at Katy, Texas on an interstate for an hour, and you still have not left Houston. They have a lot more roadways that they have to cover there, but they actually have more snow removal equipment. Jennifer can attest the general snow removal plan in the Seattle area is the sun comes up, the sun melts the snow is removed.
Yes, pretty much. And people go crazy. I'm fearful that I'm going to go to the grocery store tomorrow and there's like going to be nothing left because when snow comes, people go buy up everything. Like they're going to be stuck for, I don't know, the next 4 years. So it gets a little crazy that way. People cannot drive in the snow here. They panic. I don't like it because I have a horse and my horse is out in Renton and he's up at this like big hilly area and my little car can't do that. Luckily, somebody will feed him for me. But if there were an emergency with him, that would be difficult.
Yeah, and it's funny what you talk about everybody panic buying in the stores here. It's really true. It's not like COVID grade panic buying, but people do panic buy. And that is why we have this very inside joke, which isn't very inside anymore, about French toast emergencies. And the joke is when we have a snow event coming up, if you wait too long to go to the grocery store, good luck finding bread, milk, and eggs.
Yes.
The 3 key ingredients to making French toast. And that is our way that we gauge on how much snow is coming, and we have a scale of 1 to 10 on French toast emergency. So like last night, we had a 1 out of 10 French toast emergency, and it did snow actually in Kirkland very early in the morning. I had a pretty miserable sleepless night last night. And I can tell you, it was pouring rain at 1 in the morning, and it was pouring rain at 5 in the morning. And it was only 34 degrees, but I did see that there was slushy snow that actually accumulated a bit in other parts of Kirkland.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we didn't see any here. And like I got on my phone this morning and the app was like, oh, it's snowing in Seattle. I'm not here. It just rained a little bit. But I did have like friends on Facebook and stuff talking about getting a little bit of snow in their area.
Amante is saying he grew up in Detroit and his brain just hurts at people freaking out over the snow. Yeah. We're not here actually to crack jokes for 5 minutes about Seattle and attitudes on snow here because there's a situation in King County that isn't very funny. We are going to be having our coldest snap of the 2021 winter season coming up here at the end of the week. The forecast models have moderated since we wrote our forecast yesterday. It does appear on Thursday we actually may eke up to freezing. Before it was looking like we would only get into the high 20s. But we're splitting hairs here on 2 or 3 degrees for Wednesday evening, Thursday, and Friday. And there are 12,000 unhomed people that live in King County. The other thing is that we will probably have some kind of snow event. The computer models were looking all really consistent yesterday. And today they're all over the place. It does look like this storm system that's going to come in is going to come to our south. And it looks like Portland's going to get buried. But it doesn't look like we're going to escape with no snow out of this. But there were scenarios. We were predicting 4 to 8 inches. There were some computer models saying 15 inches.
Wow.
All of that has backed off now. And, if you asked me today, if you're like, tell me what it's going to be, I would say maybe 2 to 5 inches at this point. What's the
That, yeah.
punchline? We were reaching out last night to multiple city governments in our area on the east side, going, what is the plan for warming centers for the unhomed population? And we got very bad news this morning from two municipalities. What we were told was not that those municipalities weren't going to be opening up warming centers, but they had been advised by King County because of COVID not to open warming centers for the unhomed. And King County said, we got a plan and we're going to work on it. Of course, we're almost to Tuesday now, Jennifer, and I haven't heard anything about the plan.
Yeah, and King County's so, easy to trust, right? Yeah, that's like that's not even bordering on cruel. That's actually cruel. They don't mind sending in the police to do sweeps during the middle of a pandemic when the CDC is advised against doing things like that, but doing something compassionate, or just, offering basic warmth and shelter to unhomed people, apparently escapes them. And I just don't understand the cruelty or logic behind that.
I don't understand the logic for it too. I actually would be able to accept that argument 2 weeks ago, and I would be pushing a lot harder for the plan. But here's the problem why I have heartburn with what is King County is saying.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge that I have is we just went into phase 2. I can sit down and eat in a restaurant. I can go to a gym. I go to a yoga class. I go to a swimming pool. I can go to a bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this Friday they're opening movie theaters.
Yeah,
But we can't open up a warming shelter for unhomed people because COVID. But I can sit in a restaurant with my mask off with 8 of my closest pods, right? That's the term they use, the pod. I could sit with 8 of my pod if I want with my mask off and chow down and drink beer, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, there's no logic behind it, and it's cruel. I mean, it's not just, we have all these stereotypes that are, again, consistently perpetuated in order to justify the treatment of unhomed people. But there are children out there. There are, all kinds of people who are, have other pre-existing conditions, who are really just, looking for some basic human sympathy, and a warm place to rest in a really, really cold, dangerously cold time. And the fact that King County is so kind of just, I don't know, is not concerned about this is gross. I don't have any other word for it.
I think that, excuse me, pop the mute button there for a minute. I think that is the absolute right word. It's gross. Malcontents, if you want to help out on this, petitioning King County to do the right thing, you're just wasting your breath. My counsel to you is there are a ton of mutual aid organizations. You can go to the Facebook page of Rebellion Baby. You can also go to the Twitter feed of Rebellion Baby. You can also go to Instagram. And on Instagram, look up Morning March and also Rebellion Baby and also Seattle Protest Network. All 3 of those are great resources on where you can donate to mutual aid. And what they desperately need are tents, but they need to be 4-weather tents, and flat out, they're pricey. They need sleeping bags that are rated for 20 degrees. It's really summertime sleeping bag isn't going to cut it. If you buy a sleeping bag rated for 40, it's not good enough or adequate. The other thing is like a heavy wool blankets. Think almost like military, old school military blankets, because they're durable and they provided an added degree of warmth. Another thing is that they really could use, and it's something that people don't talk about, is bivy sacks. Bivy sacks are cheaper than a sleeping bag, and a bivy sack adds a waterproof shell to the outside of a sleeping bag. And here's the other thing. It will raise the temperature rating on a sleeping bag by maybe 5 or 10 degrees. So if you have a 20-degree sleeping bag and gets to 20 degrees, anybody who's backpacked or hiked will tell you, you're not having a fun night in a 20-degree rated sleeping bag on a 20-degree night. But if you have a bivy sack, that little bit of difference is actually going to make a difference between being miserable and shivering, and maybe being able to get a few hours of sleep. And malcontents, unfortunately, if you're in King County, that is the best advice I can give. Here's the other thing that I'm going to appeal, because I thought about this. Like, we know that there's warming centers that are going to be open in Pierce County. We have the information. We're going to share that information as we get closer to this event. I can in good conscience say, hop on a bus or help people hop on a bus or drive people to Pierce County, because those centers are going to fill up if you do that. And then people are just going to get turned away. And then you're going to have somebody in Tacoma who doesn't have most of their belongings trying to get a warming center, and they're still out on the street. So that's my counsel. And keep an eye on what King County has for a plan. But we kind of saw this, Jennifer. We go back to the summer smoke, right? They opened smoke centers, but the reality was like they only could hold like 50, 60, 80 people, and they were turning tons of people away.
Yeah, exactly. They're so woefully underprepared for stuff like this. And it's not like I feel like it's not intentional. And it's not like they don't have the money to do something about this. And I think it goes back to the question you raised when they were doing the sweep of Cal Anderson. Where the hell is this money going? All of this money that is supposedly being used to address the homeless issue in Seattle and King County more broadly, I would imagine, where is this money going, and why aren't there more resources in place to help people?
And I think you're closing on the right question, right? $1 billion a year plus between public and private investment. And we don't have a warming center plan when literally tomorrow night is going to be the first night where it's really cold. And Shell in the comments has just said, given the choice of maybe catching COVID or maybe freezing to death, I'm going to roll the dice in catching COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Same here. All right. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and do a little pause for the cause. And we're going to move on to our next story. Hi, Malcontents. I'm David, the Malcontent, and I'd like to talk to you for a moment about supporting independent media. When you support us, you help us bring the before, during, and after. You help us defend the First Amendment. You help us amplify BIPOC and LGBTQIA voices, and you help us hold leaderships at a local, state, and federal level accountable. None of this would be possible without support by viewers just like you. When you become a patron for as little as $5 a month, you help buy technology, safety equipment, and help cover travel expenses so that we can continue to bring you news that you trust. If you can't become a patron, you can do a one-time donation on Venmo, and your dollars will go to the exact same causes. With your continued support, we can continue to amplify BIPOC and LGBTQIA voices while showing the truth on what is happening in the world around us. Once again, thank you. And I saw some people asking some questions going, hey, wait a minute, my name's in yellow or my name's in red. What does that mean? It is the different tiers. We actually have different tiers of malcontents. We actually now, Jennifer, we have so many patrons. One of the things we were doing as a courtesy, even for our patrons at the $5 level who normally want to get their name in credits, we've been including them in the credits. We've actually now have so many patrons. We're now having to kind of honor the system that we have up there. Nothing against our $5 patrons. We love you. We love all of our patrons. But anyway, that's why names are in yellow and that's why names are red. And I also see all of these hearts and I just love those hearts. So please keep spamming those hearts. And I also, Jennifer, something I saw go by. I saw my emote tonight for the first time. It's only taken like 10 days.